Email Rick at rick@thericksmithshow.com. Until next time, this has been The Rick Smith Show, where working people come to talk.
AP News. Good morning, I'm Ed Donahue. Senators have been pulling an all-nighter on a $340 billion package President Trump's team says it needs for mass deportations and security measures. This is South Carolina Republican Lindsey Graham.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to embark on a plan to jumpstart the most transformational border security bill in the history of the United States. Because we need it yesterday.
With little power in the minority, Democrats instead are working to block tax breaks to billionaires. Washington's Patty Murray says Republican preferences are out of whack.
And you'll never guess what our colleagues on the other side of the aisle are focused on right now. Nothing to lower the cost of eggs. It's actually more Republican tax cuts. And no, they will not be paid for. And yes, they will blow up the national debt.
The White House is open to turning to tax cuts later this year. Meantime, at the CPAC summit near Washington, Elon Musk got a gift for his work on the Department of Government Efficiency from the leader of Argentina, a chainsaw.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw!
Doge has implemented big cuts in government staffing.
We're trying to get good things done, but also, have a good time doing it, and and have a sense of humor.
California Democratic Senator Alex Padilla says it's all wrong.
We're going to continue to see President Trump and Elon Musk and others try to shock and awe everyone here, and it feels that they're trying to do this from the hip as opposed to looking at information and having conversations, working with Democrats and Republicans.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed revenge for what he described as a cruel and malicious violation of the ceasefire agreement after a body that Hamas released as part of the deal was found to be not that of an Israeli mother of two young boys, as the militants promised. This is AP News. The Trump administration registered a few legal wins.
Two federal judges refusing to impose temporary restraining orders, one on the mass layoff of federal workers, while a lawsuit brought by unions moves forward, another over the halt to funding of the nation's largest private refugee resettlement program, brought by the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. A third federal judge said the administration continues to withhold foreign aid despite a court order, and must, at least for now, restore it. But he declined a request to find Trump administration officials in contempt of his order.
We've had a lot of fun doing it, too.
President Trump telling Republican governors,
we just rip down whatever they've done. It's almost like I want to just do one executive order. Anything he signed is now terminated.
Ben Thomas, Washington.
The local sheriff says one person died, another was hurt when their helicopter crashed into a frozen reservoir in southeast Idaho. I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Sunny skies today with a high of 31. West winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight, lows around 13. Highs level off around 34 tomorrow. Overcast Sunday with daytime highs approaching 42, 49 Monday. Looking at the long range, 47 Tuesday, 47 Wednesday, and 39 on Thursday. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 12 degrees.
Saving money on remodeling your home at Menards. Start your tile project off right with Dent Shield Tile Backer from Georgia Pacific. It's proven to protect against moisture in your walls and subfloors with a built-in water barrier, making it perfect to use in damp areas like kitchens and bathrooms. Plus, its easy-to-cut design makes installation a breeze. Save big on Georgia Pacific Dent Shield Tile Backer panels. On sale through March 2nd. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals.
Save big money at Menards.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that will focus on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Friday morning, progressives, and welcome to the February 21st, 2025 edition of Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, iHeartRadio. Go to our website, of course, and email me at richard@wcpt820.com. Also, catch me on Substack, writing it on Friday with my man Henry. We are here. Catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That's where you can get Choose Views, short version, long versions. Of course, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez. The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Out Chicago. And, of course, our other shows and interviews. Check out our heartlandsignal.com digital platform, because why? There's lots of good stuff there. And I'll be talking about that a little bit later in the show. It's Friday, so we're going to keep it rolling and keep moving. We're busy. We've got three wonderful guests this morning. Our good friend Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics Podcast will be with us at 6:30. Yolanda Androzzo, who is a executive director of One AIM Illinois, will be here at 7 o'clock. And Elizabeth Beavers of Public Citizen Congress Watch. She's a director of the organization. She'll be with us at 7:30. So busy morning, lots to talk about. We'll keep it moving as best we can. So let's make our way, Henry, over to a couple of quick Choose Views news items. KFC headquarters is the lead in Kentucky. It's moving its corporate headquarters out of Kentucky as part of a consolidation plan in the U.S. By parent company Yum Brands. About 200 corporate workers will relocate to Yum's two new locations in Plano, Texas, and Irvine, California, according to a company statement. So we'll have to pay attention to that. United Healthcare aims to trim its staff, offering current buyouts to some workers in its benefits unit if they resign by March 3rd, according to CNBC. If enough people don't take the offer, the company will reportedly pursue layoffs. United Healthcare is trying to find its footing after the challenging 2024, which included a massive cyber attack and the fatal shooting of the United Healthcare CEO. Apple is launching a $599 iPhone. It's unveiling a new, cheaper iPhone this week. It's capable of running the same apps and games that its more expensive models do. That should tell you something right there, that it didn't need to be that expensive in the first doggone place. They could do it for less money all along. We knew it, but people stood in lines because they had to have that iPhone. I'm not ragging on people who have iPhones or dragging on people who have iPhones. I'm just saying we knew that it could be done for a little bit less. The phone will be priced at $599 when it goes on sale later this month. Also dispenses with the home button and finger sensor for Apple's Face ID scanner and modern design pieces that they use. So there you go. We knew it could be done for less. All right, the feds got involved in this New York City congestion pricing, and of course, Kathy Hochul pushed back hard, as she should. And they're trying to, meaning the federal government, meaning Trump, is trying to get in and pull the Department of Transportation's, or should say, throw their weight around as a way to stop this congestion pricing protocol that New York City has. So we'll watch that as well. Amazon is paying $1 billion to take over one of my favorite platforms. What's that? The Amazon MGM Studios paid $1 billion for creative control of the James Bond film franchise. They're taking over 007, man. Producers Michael Wilson and Barbara Broccoli, who've been part of the James Bond family for years, noted sources that they will be sharing intellectual property rights, and Amazon will now determine the series' next phase. No replacement has yet been announced for Daniel Craig, whose last turn at Bond was in 2021. the film No Time to Die, the 25th Bond film. Jobless claims steady amid firings. New jobless claims rose modestly last week as recent federal cuts are not reflected in the recent data. Initial applications for unemployment benefits increased by 5,000 to 219,000, according to the Labor Department yesterday, indicating still solid demand for workers, but layoffs of some 10,000 government employees in the past week aren't included because they reported separately with that lag. Those government layoffs are going to have a detrimental effect to local economies. There's no question about it. And Shake Shack is outlining an expansion plan. They're looking to open 45 new corporate-owned locations this year, with the goal of being to boost their internal promotions of already employed staff and launching a kitchen innovation lab. So there you go with Shake Shack. Delta is offering cash to passengers that were part of the flight that went down. They announced that it will offer $30,000 payments as a good faith measure to each of the passengers on its flight from Minnesota that crashed and overturned upon landing at the Toronto Pearson Airport this week. According to its Delta spokesperson, the payments have no strings attached and do not affect rights if accepted. Investigators are still probing the cause for the accident, which resulted in 21 hospitalizations. 2 runways at the airport remain closed. So there you go, guys, on this Speedy Friday, some Choose Views news items that we want you guys to be aware of and pay attention to. We'll keep you posted. And as always, guys, we want to make sure you're plugging into my colleagues, Joan Esposito. Today, we'll be taking your calls in the first half hour of the show and talking to Ed Yonka, Director of Communications and Public Policy at ACLU, Illinois. Also, Tom Villanova, retired president of the Chicago and Cook County Building and Construction Trades Council, live, local, and progressive. Yes, that's Joan Esposito, weekdays 2 to 5 here on WCPT AM 820, Heartland Signal, website, and tune in. Tonight, to Patty Vasquez. We'll be joined by guess who? Guest host Dan Kotowski, former Illinois State Senator and President and CEO of Kids Above All. And their guest will be St. Charles Mayor Laura Vychek and Dan Schaefer of the Recombination area. Recombination area. There we go. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Central, WCPT AM 820, Heartland Signal website, and tune in, YouTube and Facebook. Saturday on The Big Picture, Edwin will be joined by the Atlantic's George Packer, Dana Warmwald, editor of the New Hampshire Bulletin, and political scientist Don Moynihan. The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays 1 to 4 Central here on WCPT AM 820, Heartland Signal website, and tune in. Monday's show, guys, giving you this already. We'll be talking with, to defend the vote, Executive Director Brian Lemek, and Illinois State Rep Cam Buckner will be here on Choose Views. So we look forward to having them with us. Looking forward to the great shows that Edwin, Patty, and Joan have. So make sure you're tuning in and you're making your way over to Heartland Signal. My new podcast, you can catch those at our website. And most definitely, you can search for Choose Views or get the links on my show by just visiting heartlandsignal.com and clicking on my picture. How about that, Henry? All of our shows, you get the rundowns, things that you can share with people. That's the way to do this. So if you're hanging out in Chicago this weekend, we have a few things that you might want to throw on your calendar if you're going to be out and about. The Polar Adventure Days. Make the most of the wintry weather during Polar Adventure Days. It's a free outdoor program from the Park District of Chicago held at the Big Marsh Park. That's tomorrow, February 22nd. So make your way over there. Ice carvings, winter crafts, live music, and guess what? One of my favorites, Henry, hot chocolate. So make your way over there. Magic Con here in Chicago actually will be be in McCormick Place starting today through Sunday. Magic Con Chicago will gather fans of magic and gathering from all over the world to McCormick Place, featuring an abundance of unique merch, play events, and more. So you can make your way to McCormick Place for that event. And then if we're getting a little bit of an early bid on flowers, the Spring Flower Show at Garfield Park Conservatory will be taking place tomorrow. And that'll actually be running through May 7th. But it kicks off tomorrow at the Garfield Park Conservatory. That's 300 North Central Park Avenue here in Chicago. And then make your way to the commemorative day for Black History Month, and that's going to be at the Chicago History Museum, which is one of the best museums on the planet, the Chicago History Museum. It talks about Chicago history there, obviously, but also history of the Midwest and migration of folks from the South and from the East. It's a really great place to go. Celebrate Black History Month at the Chicago History Museum as they look at the ways art has been a vehicle for social change in Chicago's African American community. So make your way over there tomorrow. And up in Andersonville, so make your way down to the History Museum, and then make your way over to Andersonville, because why? They've got Restaurant Week there in Andersonville. The Andersonville Chamber of Commerce is excited to once again showcase the abundance of great restaurants throughout the district. That's today through Sunday. Next Sunday, I should say, the March 2nd. 1544 West Hollywood in Andersonville. That should be a lot of fun, and you can kind of fill your bellies a little bit with Restaurant Week. Black Creativity Career Showcase at the Griffith Museum of Science and Industry. You know where that is. 5700 South DuSable Lakeshore Drive. That's the Griffith Museum of Science and Industry. And then if you're in for some entertainment, the play Clue live on stage. Y'all remember that one. That's going to be 18 West Monroe, the CIBC Theater. That's running till March 2nd. So that's another weekend item for you to take in if you're here in Chicago or if you're making your way to the city and looking for something to do. So there you go, guys. All right, Henry, let's take a quick break. 773-763-9278. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about some items that have come to me via emails. 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views. We'll be right back.
WCPT replay.
I hear a lot of people saying that they hate Illinois. They hate Cook County. They literally, you can just see the passion and the anger when they talk about that. I can't wait to move away and move away. And everybody talks about getting out of the state, which, and I'll be honest with you, I love it here. But yet our house is still a seller's market. There's still more people that want to move in than are moving out. I mean, if so many people are leaving our state, then wouldn't the buyers have more power?
A lot of it has to do with how people identify. People's identity, the things they most cherish. And if you identify as someone who is conservative, you will look at some of the legislation that's been passed, pro-LGBTQ, pro-DEI, whatever other buzzwords that people on the right side of the political spectrum like to point at that are, to them, that are negative values that our government and the majority of our people find enough value in it to protect it, abortion rights, whatever it is.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. So, Henry, I get emails from folks. Obviously, we get texts during the show, which we greatly appreciate. We get calls and all the rest. And Henry's going to open up the lines. Thanks. And I get a variety of different emails. Some of them are suggestions. Some of them are sending me items, and I appreciate everything you guys send. Jennifer D, George, the list goes on. Craig, there's so many people that send me great emails with content. And from all over the country, which is super because it means we're reaching people in pockets that may not have a progressive station. And we really, really appreciate that. And so when I get certain emails, I have to pay particular attention. Some people have said to me, and I've had this happen when talking with people in public, but when someone says to me, Henry, so Richard, I listen to your show and other shows, and I know that the push from our side has to be, we've got to do it. We got to do the work. And someone says, well, I'm concerned though, because I don't want, if I go to a rally, and this came out of folks talking about the different rallies that took place over this weekend and where folks were out and about. I don't want to have anything happen to me. I get it. I mean, we had people, one day before the start of the family meeting, a year and a half ago, we had some people, shoot the building. So I get it. And here's what I want to say. If you are someone that's out there working to improve where we are in this country, we are not a perfect country, not a perfect species. We do things, we make mistakes, all those sorts of things. But if you're out there trying to help improve this country, and you go to a rally or you're at work or you're at an event and someone threatens you, or someone goes online and tries to be a keyboard warrior to threaten you for your positions politically or socially or economically in this space, you need to let somebody know. Do not sit back and go, well, they didn't mean anything. If you have a coworker that's trash talking you because they see that you have had a Biden-Harris sign on your vehicle or anything else. And listen, I'm speaking to the progressives that have reached out to me. I'm not talking to maggots who are more prone to this violence than we are. I'm speaking to our people to protect our people. I'm going to play Big Brother here for a minute. I don't mean in terms of Big Brother technology-wise, but Big Brother in terms of your guy on WCPT. If you have a coworker, if you have a family member, if you have a colleague, if there's a stranger, if there's someone that you know in any capacity, Henry, and they're threatening you, they're sending emails, they're showing up at your job, they're showing up at your house, they're showing up at venues that you go to, and they're trying to threaten you, and particularly if they're being a keyboard warrior and they're sending you emails that are threatening, or they're sending friends of yours that they know, that they want to try to influence, or they're sending business associates of yours, that kind of garbage, you need to call the police. Don't wait for something to happen. If you're speaking your mind about things politically, socially, economically, in this space that we're in right now, and you got people threatening you or threatening people that you know, or trying to leverage to threaten other people, because you call the police, you call the sheriff, you call the authorities and let them know. I don't want to see someone that's in anyone, period, but particularly someone that's part of our team. I've received some text, emails, and videos of people that have been somewhat assaulted or threatened. And what kicked it into gear with me is the guy, the former NFL football player that went to the city council meeting or whatever it was, and he called Trump and Musk Nazis, and then the police took him down. So I'm sitting here saying, okay, now was he a threat to the people there? Possibly, but really he got taken down because of the statement that he made. My point is, if you're out making statements, if you're out picketing, if you're out with postcards, if you're not postcards, but sign cards, and you're doing any of this work, and I know it's risky to be out and go to an event, but if you're in your place of business, your place of work, which should be a place of comfort and safety, and you've got someone threatening you or your coworkers or your business colleagues or your friends, you need to call the police. Call the authorities and report that person. Supersede HR, because HR is going to try to. They got to kind of negotiate, But if you got someone that in any capacity in your life that's doing that, just call the police. Especially if it's something that's work related, because then you got somebody stalking you at your vehicle or on your way to the bus or to public transportation or Uber or whatever. You do not need that. And I'm here to let you know that anybody that comes after any of us, we're calling the police. You come after my man Henry, I'm calling the police. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Don't come for us in any way, shape, or form. We're here to do good work to help folks out, our best, doing the best that we can. And any of the folks that are contributors to our show, whether they be guests, our regular folks, Karen and Kurt, and people that call into the show, don't come for them. Because if you do, we're calling the police. We can figure out who you are very easily. And I'm saying that because as an encouragement to the folks that are listeners and followers that are out there trying to make this thing a better place. do not blink an eye. If someone comes for you, you call the police. Someone tries to threaten you or decides to be a keyboard warrior, you call the police. And I'm spending a couple of minutes on it because I had a couple people that said to me, Richard, I want to get out and do things, but I don't want someone to come after me. And so that's part of the reason that I'm taking a couple of minutes. I would feel irresponsible if I didn't address it this way this morning with this platform. Do not come for us. And if someone does in any manner that you feel remotely threatened, call the police. And if you have someone in your life, a colleague of yours that's been threatened or they've been put in an awkward situation because of where you stand politically, socially, economically in the space that we're in, have them do the same. So I'm putting that out there so that you guys know that we got you. And if someone's doing something that you feel if you feel threatened, let me know. You can send me an email and I'll do my part to help in that space. Because I refuse to have anyone that we care about be threatened. Period. Whether it be, you as a listener, you as a follower, you anywhere in the country, and particularly the folks who are guests and contributors to our show. So there you go, guys. Now, a little bit of a pivot. Make sure you're taking care of your health. Because we had a very dear friend of ours pass away about 10 days ago, 54 years old, and was determined to have a couple of brain tumors, and died very quickly, not suddenly, but very quickly, unfortunately. So I want to give a shout out to my late friend, Sam Cruz. Had to attend his funeral yesterday, and it was tough. It's always tough, but it's tough when something like that happens to someone that vibrant, healthy, energetic, great father, great husband, great son, all the rest, and a great friend. So we all need to take care of ourselves. Get to the doctor. If you got just like I said about your safety and someone, threatening you or any of those spaces, report it, call the police. If you're feeling a little bit weird, Henry, go to the doctor. If you got something that ain't quite right, don't be bashful and don't be brave, men. Not being sexist at all, but ladies too. If something doesn't feel right, take your time and go see the doctor. Take care of your health, y'all. And I know I'm a little preachy this morning about safety and about health, but I wouldn't be if it weren't important to me and important to me to share with you guys. If somebody's coming, you feel threatened, let the police know. If you're feeling a little bit unhealthy, get checked out. Okay? Don't let stuff sneak up on you. Okay? So, every now and again, as you guys know, I will stand on this mantle and preach a little bit. But it's not to be preachy. It's because I care. I care about folks' safety and in all my imperfections, Henry, and whatever's, that at the end of the day, that's at my core. And I care about people being in the right space. So don't let someone threaten you. Let the authorities know in any way whatsoever, however they might be trying to do it. And if you're feeling a little bit off health-wise, don't, not to demean the word hypochondria, but if, don't think that it's something that you shouldn't get checked into or checked out. Okay. Just want to see y'all be around for a minute. So I wanted to come out this morning and speak in that way because sometimes we get just doing our show, talking about the issues and not focusing on our own safeties. And so that's what I wanted to do to make sure, that you're taking care. So, all right, let's take a quick break because I know we've got our good friends with us this morning. The number, of course, is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views, and we'll be right back.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Sunny skies today with a high of 31. West winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight, lows around 13. Highs level off around 34 tomorrow. Overcast Sunday with daytime highs approaching 42, 49 Monday. Looking at the long range, 47 Tuesday, 47 Wednesday, and 39 on Thursday. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 12 degrees.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
It's Chew's View with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hey guys, welcome back to Chew's View, 773-763-9278. So I saw this post from the Muskie one saying that that billionaires are tired of subsidizing. I wish I had kept it, but it's basically billionaires are tired of subsidizing health and a variety of other things. It was really the arrogance of Elon showing how out of touch he is with folks. Let's cut services and benefits, but at the same time, we're tired of subsidizing. Well, Elon, you are the most subsidized billionaire that I know of, so you should STFU, and I'll tell that to your face. Make your way over to heartlandsignal.com, guys, our wonderful digital platform. Great articles and posts right now. You'll catch one. Missouri GOP proposes eHarmony for babies to track pregnant women. How crazy is that? But they want smaller government. They want to stay out of your business until it's the business of a woman. Minnesota has an anti-abortion bill that would defund Planned Parenthood. Heartland Signal on X, Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers announces a plan to help farmers navigate Trump's tariffs, including hiring an egg economist, as we talked about. Here in America's dairyland, agriculture is a $116 billion industry. We can't afford to lose our momentum because of tariffs. Definitely a good clip that you guys should be checking out. And of course, our own Governor J.P. Pritzker, while presenting his budget, took aim at Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Doge. I removed president from that. I know it's in fashion at the federal level right now to just indiscriminately slash school funding, healthcare coverage, support for our farmers and veterans, but we're not having it. So he's leaning way, and he's leaning so far, and he can see over the balcony. Make your way over to heartlandsignal.com. Check out our digital platform, our articles and posts there. I think you'll find some great things to share with folks that you are concerned about, that you want to make sure they stay informed. All right, guys, let's go to our good friend Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics here on this Friday morning. Good morning, Karen. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Richard. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good, and I hope you're doing well. I had to share a couple of things about safety and about taking care of oneself, and don't be intimidated. Let folks know if something's happening. Yeah. I felt that based on a few emails and communications that I've received and other things that I've been watching, that people need to know that if you don't come for us, first of all. And if someone does come at you, then don't take it lightly. You may not go to the police, but don't take it lightly. Let somebody know that we're not to be come for.
That's right. Yeah.
So tell us.
I will say this.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, really quick, what I will say is this. Yes, absolutely. Social media is like the Wild West right now. So I would avoid, honestly, engaging with random people like on somebody else's page. I would avoid that at all costs right now. As far as our own interpersonal relationships and contacts, whether coworkers or family members, I know a lot of people are really struggling. I made the conscious decision in 2016 to unfriend, block a number of people that I have known since I was a kid because of their vote. And I made that decision for myself, and I don't regret it at all. So if you need to distance yourself on social media from people that, are not immediately in your day-to-day life, but only on social media, block them. Just block them.
Yeah.
You don't even have to unfriend them like on Facebook. All you have to do is block them because your safety, and then they can't see what you're posting on your own personal page. Make sure that for what it's worth, you can still put your privacy settings so that only the people who are your inner circle and your friends can see what you post. So I highly recommend people do need to take some precautions to protect themselves and just protect their own mental health, because it is traumatic when people come at you viciously, on social media or just in conversation.
Yeah, it is. And I appreciate you giving a quick, quick class on some things to do. Karen is a very strong social media person. She's very mindful, as is Kurt Mullet and others who contribute to the show. Pretty adept at navigating some of the things on social media. But, guys, I just felt compelled to say that don't come for us. And if someone has been made to feel uncomfortable by anybody in your world, block them, put them in timeout. And if it's necessary to have the authorities be known, if you're at work, you may want to, I know I said skip over HR. I didn't mean that literally, but don't just make sure you use your resources to let people know, do not come for me speaking my mind or doing what I do. It is not
right.
Sorry, go ahead, Karen.
Yeah. No. If it's in a work environment, you absolutely go to HR. You have to create a paper trail. Yeah. You have to. That is the biggest thing that they tell when people are threatening you, in your day to day. And it is something to be taken seriously. So if it's at the workplace, you go to the HR. Go HR, because they have got to file an incident report. And if it is just in your own interpersonal relationships and somebody is making threats against you, go to the police with it. Yeah. And file a report. That is absolutely an imperative. So if anybody is experiencing that kind of harassment or intimidation.
Yeah, we had a few years ago, when we right before the one of the Sunday broadcasts of the family meeting, that we had the people that shut out a couple of the windows here. We had to call the police. So it gets that literal. And in this space, guys, we will call the police on you. Don't think for a minute that if you are going after folks. Any level, we will call the police happily.
That's right.
If it's HR related, go to HR, let them know. But don't. The point I want to make in this space, and then we're going to shift to what Karen wants to chat a little bit about. We are not to be taken as fools and lightly just because you want to be a keyboard warrior. So that's the message there. All right. My good friend. So Karen had a really cool experience yesterday. I knew it was happening, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to make it. But Karen had the opportunity to go and see someone and has some observations that she'd like to share with us this morning. So take it away.
So there was a wonderful event that was hosted by WBEZ, moderated by Mary Dixon from WBEZ, a conversation with Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries. And my sister and I went down there, and it was general admission. We got front row center, so we're able to it's like sitting in your own living room, listening to two people have a conversation. And it was very heartened. I have admittedly been a little frustrated by some of the rhetoric that, I've heard coming out of certainly Chuck Schumer, and even, I want to call him Speaker Jeffries.
Me too.
About, bipartisan, just kind of we're going to work with them where we can. And, because, of course, Democratic leadership and people that are public servants on the Democratic side are serious about doing the work of the people and about serving the public. So, it is counter to their instincts and what they want to do to say that, you know what, we're going to let this play out and let people feel some hurt. Because sometimes that's the only way that people learn, that we're kind of starting to see with some of the freezes that Elon Musk and his Doge bros and Donald Trump and the Republicans are putting in place to, so even people that voted for Republicans are feeling it. And we can see that in multiple town halls across the nation that are full capacity, and people are angry, and they're shouting down these Republicans that are have spines enough to go and stand before their constituents and hear what they're saying.
What were some of the?
It's working.
What were some of the? Sorry, and I'm going to come back to that part because I don't know if you guys saw the clip of the Florida House representative that just got throttled by people. But that being said, Karen, what were some of the questions that you remember him being asked? And I know that part of this was a book signing or book, sort of a book tour. But what were some of the questions that were asked by the audience and that he answered, where you made note that, okay, that was that's what we want to hear or we need to hear?
So some of the same things that we've been asking. What are you guys doing to fight? What are you guys doing as far as the messaging? We're hearing a lot of, kind of sitting down and making nice, but, we want to know what you guys are doing to fight for us, because they're, and one of the questioners was like, we are terrified right now. And we feel helpless out here. And so his answer was, it is going to be a multi-pronged approach, and it's going to basically, your tagline, all of our players means all of our players. So they are, it seems like from what he said, they are starting to understand some of the strategy that they need to implement to fight. So, for example, spoke about their rapid response team that they put together. That is, let's see, he had Joe Neguse of Colorado. He's the chair for the task force. And then they have Reps Rosa DeLauro from Connecticut, Jerry Connolly, and Jamie Raskin. They'll be co-chairs. So I would like a little bit more Jasmine Crockett in that lineup and AOC in that lineup, but at least it is a step in the right direction. He spoke about going to where the conversations are being had by the people, by their constituents. And the Democratic voters. And
so you mean like
Democratic?
I'm sorry. Let me try to get some clarity. Was he saying that Democratic voters need to go to where Republican elected officials are?
No.
Okay.
No, that the Democratic leadership need to go to where we're having the conversations.
Got it. Okay.
So on media. So, and I know that he said that he was on 2 alternative media, by the way, independent media resources. So I do know, he said that he had gone on 2 in the past week. I do know that he was on Roland Martin.
Right.
Roland Martin had a really good interview. It was, if anybody hasn't seen it, please go check that out, because it was really good. And Roland, was kind of putting his feet to the fire about some of the, let's reach across the aisle and make nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Roland is not to be messed with.
No.
And he's I like him and I respect his way of doing what he does. Because he's not apologizing for a doggone thing right now. So yeah, you guys want to check out what Roland did and what the segment that he had with Speaker Jeff. Here we are, Karen.
Let's just go. Let's do it. Let's own it. You know what? We're manifesting it.
Let's
That's
put it
what
out
we're going to
there.
do.
There it is.
We're manifesting it.
Sorry,
yes.
Keep going, Karen. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. So that was another thing. Spoke about fighting harder. They're talking about this upcoming budget that Republicans are putting forward, and he said, not only am I a no, I'm a hell no on this. So it sounds like they are kind of understanding some of this the approach that they need to take, some of the strategy involved. If I had been able to have, been in the seat next to him asking the questions, I would have asked him, okay, so you're a hell no. What about your caucus? Are you whipping them to be a hell no? Yeah. And also, if they're going to come to you, because, let's be real, Republicans have the majority, and that needs to be said over and over and over again. Democrats literally do not have to do anything. They don't need Democrats' help for anything. And then they're going to end up having to own it. And they know that, which is why, I think that they're running a little scared right now, and they're getting a little uncomfortable because they know that every single thing that they're going to pass is going to be hung around their necks and their necks only. And as long as the Democrats stay firm and, stay together.
They have to stay in one of his biggest responsibilities right now, I think, Hakeem Jeffries, is to make sure that they stay. I mean, right now it's 215. That every one of those people that have been elected on the Democratic side in the House of Representatives, and Chuck Schumer's got to do the same thing. When there is a vote that they have got, if it's a vote that's harmful to the United States of America and the citizens of this country, then the Dems need to be, without question, on a federal level, every single vote is no. Lined up behind Jeffries and Schumer, and Chuck and Hakeem need to make sure, because we're probably not going to see a different Senate minority leader, and probably not going to see a different Senate House minority leader right now. So they need to stand strong and firm, and they need to keep their caucuses in line. And if anything, make it attractive for senators from the right to come over. For example, with this vote on Kash Patel, Murkowski and Collins, with all their, I'm going to say Lisa's this way. I'm sorry, Senator Murkowski is this way. But Collins certainly is flighty as hell when it comes to what she says versus how she votes. But they did move to the left and vote with the Dems on the confirmation of Kash Patel. That's what Schumer and Jeffries need to do. They need to make it attractive to pull over a couple of senators or a couple of House members every single time. They can keep doing that. That's going to speak as loud as just about anything else, that there are a handful potentially in the House and one or two in the Senate that are going to vote with the Dems. But if they don't, you're spot on. Then the Republicans need this around their neck, on their feet, letting them know that when this is on you guys. Do you think, Karen, that the Dems leadership should be, every time there's something voted on that's a bill that's going to be harmful to the country or something that they allow to slip through, the Dems need to be at the mic every time saying, this is what you guys just got. This is what your leaders just voted for, and this is how it's going to harm you.
That's right. That's right. No, they have to. And that was one of the things. They have got to create the opposition narrative and messaging. And one of the things that did really excite me that he said is, I guess in the beginning of March, we're going to have the special treat of having convicted felon 47 stand in our halls of Congress and address the House and the Senate, and how we have the Democratic response afterwards. So what he said is that it is not going to be just a Democratic response. It is going to be all week. All week, they're going to be responding to everything that is said. So they're not just going to limit themselves. And you and I have spoken about it. They need to be getting out there every day, not just sitting there reading a statement, holding a press conference. And I think that it is a really good idea, as I heard on one of the other progressive shows, to have the members of press who have their White House credentials, rather, to be out involved in those press conferences with the Democrats. We have an opportunity here. And I think that the Democratic leadership, needs to, it is not an either or situation. It is everything, all hands on deck, every tool, every weapon that they can come up with to counter the messaging, because this is why we're here. I mean, when you have as much of the media bought up by right-wing entities as we have, this is exactly how we got here. They have been able to flood the zone with lies and propaganda, and they learned a long time ago, you go to where your voters are having the conversations. And that's why, like with the dogs eating the cats, it sounded nuts to us, but guess what they were doing? Validating every single one of the members of their base that they needed to bring in to get turnout and vote. And they do it effectively. And we need to start employing those same tactics. Period, full stop.
And doing it with the sentiment that we're bringing truth because our ideas are better.
That's
our
right.
plans are better. Going back to what David Jolly said. I received a text that says Jeffries and 99% of the rest are pathetic. Was Jeffries given a participation ribbon? Too little, too late. We're screwed. I'm done. That came from one of our listeners, and I just wanted to read it live. I'm not going to mention the person's name on the air, but I wanted to speak to that, or just
okay.
Where are you in that space?
Listen, that's a lot of privilege if you're saying too little, too late. Okay, it's not too late. It's never too late. And when we are talking about the impact on real lives, real communities, the danger that we are in, yes, I understand. I understand the frustration. Believe me, I understand the frustration. But if you're sitting there saying it's too late, I would check your privilege on that a little bit. And I don't know what your situation is out there, but I'm not checking out. I'm not giving up. I am not going to, and I encourage everybody to come out and fight. And if they're getting it now, then great. That's fantastic. Let's do this. Yeah. We need to stick together on this. And if they're starting to figure it out, and by the way, the reason that they are figuring it out is because they've been hearing us. The questions that I heard him ask last night, they're hearing us. They're making the adaptation that they need to make. And yes, it is going to be an ongoing challenge, and they're going to have to tweak it, but it has to happen, And by the way, that Lisa Murkowski vote against Kash Patel, that happened because she had a teletown hall and she heard from the constituents. Republicans and Democrats alike are not happy with this. If you look at the polling that came out last night, you can check out Rachel Maddow, the first part of her show. Yeah. Go check that out. Our pressure is working, and I think that the Democratic leadership, they're starting to pay attention and understand that all of the people getting out in the streets, all of the phone calls, they've had exponentially more phone calls coming into their offices.
And that's why.
So it's working.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I get where someone would say too little, too late because of the fact that we're seeing this is the impact of all the executive orders just coming rapid fire, if you will, and all these other crazy things in terms of appointments and this, that, and the other. I get it why someone would feel like too little, too late. But I'm of the same cut of cloth. I don't give up. I fight till I'm done, and I'm not done.
And by the way, what you're leaving, we can pile on the Democrats, and, I've heard this before, it's like, where's the messaging? They're not getting out. They're not saying it. The reality of the situation is they are saying it. The problem is the media isn't reporting it, which is exactly why Democrats and our Democratic leadership need to go to people like Jasmine Crockett, AOC, these two women in particular, and there are more, but these two women in particular are women who know how to create viral moments. They need to be creating content for social media because so many people do not tune into their news, and then create the viral moments. And then we need to be calling our local television stations and paying attention to what they're reporting, what they're saying. And we need to be calling them too and saying, hey, did you see this? Why aren't you guys talking about, what Jasmine Crockett said? Because she is fire every single day. she is on fire with her messaging.
I think our encouragement our one of our tools, and it's proving it's and bearing itself out. And this, the text that was sent to me asked for a little bit of clarification, which is they're fighting, and they're fighting every day. And that they basically, as I'm interpreting this, they just want the Dems to show us that they're fighting as hard as we are. I think that's what a lot of people are saying and feeling. I'm fighting and I'm
right.
harder.
Listen.
And here's the thing. I know for a fact, we're seeing the results, that people are fighting, and we want Dems to hear that we're fighting, see that we're fighting, and then take a page out of our book of fighting, so that people then go, okay, the elected officials are doing what we're asking them to do, which is to fight. So shout out.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I am 100% in agreement with that. I have been very frustrated up until this point. All I'm saying is what I heard him say last night, and he was on Midas Touch. Our good friend Natalie Ziamba sent me that text message to help me out here. So Midas Touch and Roland Martin, Hakeem Jeffries went on both of those. And so, but the fact that he said, this is what gives me hope to that person who is frustrated, and I get it. I totally understand it. But we have got to keep fighting alongside, and we have to be putting the pressure, because it is working. Because for him to say we need to go to where the conversations are being had and listen to our constituents and our voters, that gives me what that tells me is that all of the things, because we've been saying that, Richard, they're understanding that. I think that they are starting to understand that. And it's never too late. We cannot do that. It wasn't, and look what happened. Nazi Germany happened and people overcame it. And I think that that's the thing. Throughout history, there have been challenges. There have been assaults on freedom and democracy all along. But what do? We fight. And I am going to say this, Richard, with I'm not trying to pander, nothing like that. But this entire time that Trump has been in the political environment, anytime I feel tired, anytime I feel defeated, I am not kidding, I think about black women, and I take my strength from black women in particular.
Yeah. And listen.
And he spoke, and the black, men as well, John Lewis, and he spoke about John Lewis. Okay? There have been challenges by people that have not had the privilege that I have because of the color of my skin. So we need to buck up, and we need to get on board, and we need to encourage them and keep encouraging them. And call Hakeem Jeffries' office and say, we appreciate you. This is what we want you to do. Call his office.
Is frustrated and wants to see things change. And this person is in the fight, elbows deep, sleeves rolled up, elbows deep. I know that they are. And I've witnessed the things that they're doing. And they just want to see our leaders do a better job. I think right now the person that is a highly representative of the fight that we want to see day to day is our own Governor J.B. Pritzker. Now, he is head and shoulders. I said this earlier in the week. He is head and shoulders above just about everybody else. And I'm not denigrating anybody else, but he's a head and shoulders over some of our other, favorite leaders, the Kathy Hochul's and the Wes Moores and the Gretchen Whitmers and the Gavin Newsoms, and the list goes on, because he is daily coming out, gloves off, and I think that's what this particular listener wants to see from all of the Dems.
Yes.
And
we're all on the same page. Yes.
Yeah. So, in any event, Karen, I got to wrap up this segment. It's been great. I knew we'd be energized this morning, and I'm glad you were able to be part of an event last night where you got to see some things live. So thank you for your contribution this morning.
It felt really good. Find your people. I know it's upsetting and frustrating, and we're all afraid, but it is not too late. Okay, and our fight is having an impact. Just know that. Okay, so we're not done. This is not over. We have three seats that we could potentially flip.
Yep.
But we got to do it, you know? So, anyway, love
Cool.
you. Thanks
right.
for having me on, as always.
You got it. Have a great day today and a good weekend, and we will talk soon.
Okay,
All
talk
right.
to you.
Bye now.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, yeah,
Bye.
see you tomorrow. That's right. What does he mean by tomorrow, guys? We'll talk about that in the second hour because we got to hit this break. The number, of course, is 773-763-9278. This is Choose Views, and we'll be right back.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. That's 2,000 children every single day. It's a heart-wrenching reality that we can no longer ignore. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted vehicle, running or not. Call 1-800-775-5622. We guarantee that you will receive the maximum tax deduction. We provide fast, free pickup with 24-hour response. Call 1-800-775-5622. Find the Children provides crucial resources to help find missing children and educational materials to teach kids how to recognize and avoid predators. Our recovery programs have a proven track record of reuniting kids with their families. It's time to act. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Help us build a world where every child is safe. Pick up the phone and call 1-800-775-5622. Together, we can bring these kids home safely. This advertisement was paid for by Cars R Us and Find the Children.
Hey there, it's Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute. Today, I want to talk about talking about money and why we gotta do it, even though it's something we really don't want to do. In our culture, we're almost conditioned, like trained, not to discuss it. You know, it's impolite, it can make people uncomfortable, it could cause conflict. Well, I'm here to say that not talking about money makes it harder to solve money problems, harder to ask for a raise, harder to figure out and talk about what we want in life. Look, if you want to make more money and you want to get better at your money, you gotta talk about your money. So let me start with a suggestion that I saw once on a shoebox. Just do it. Find a trustworthy friend or a family member and just talk to them about what's nagging you about your money. Now, you might not solve everything, but I bet you'll make some headway, and I promise it gets easier and better every time. For more money tips, check out Work Money Media on YouTube. Take good care.
Imagine all the things you dream of under one roof. You're thinking of eBay. Fashion, collectibles, car parts, it's all there. Go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay. Things people love.
AP News. Good morning, I'm Ed Donahue. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says a body Hamas released during a handover is not the remains of an Israeli hostage.
Instead, he says it's of a woman from Gaza. Israel were expecting to receive the remains of Shiri Bibas, the mother of two young boys whose bodies were returned on Thursday. In a statement, Netanyahu criticized the handover of the wrong remains as a cruel and malicious violation of the ceasefire agreement, which has halted fighting in the Gaza Strip. His statement said Hamas would pay the full price for the action. It comes after Hamas militants turned over 4 bodies, including that of Oded Lifshitz, who was 83 when he was abducted during the Hamas attack on Israel that started the war on October 7, 2023. Israeli Defense Forces said the remains of Shiri Bibas's 2 young sons were also positively identified, but added the 4th body was not that of their mother nor any other hostage. I'm Lawrence Brooks.
Luigi Mangione is due to appear in court in New York. He's charged with the shooting death of the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, in December. After an all-night vote, Senate Republicans approved a budget framework, pushing back objections from Democrats like Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts on tax breaks.
Let's just start the bidding at $10 million. Is that rich enough to say they're not going to get a tax giveaway from the Republicans?
Money for mass deportations and border security tops President Trump's agenda. Last night at the CPAC conference near Washington, Elon Musk received a chainsaw as a gift for work to cut government spending. He also said the Biden administration used immigration to gain more support.
A lot of people don't quite appreciate that this was an actual real scam at scale to tilt the scales of democracy in America. It's treason.
A federal judge is allowing mass firing of federal workers to move forward. This is AP News. Canada wins the Four Nations Hockey Trophy in Boston in overtime. Before the game,
The anthem singer who performed the Canadian anthem prior to the Four Nations Face-Off Championship game changed a lyric in O Canada from In All of Us Command to That Only Us Command. Singer Chantal Kreviazuk changed the lyric as a response to U.S. President Donald Trump's remarks about making Canada the 51st state. Kreviazuk spoke exclusively to AP freelancer Ken Pautak.
I believe in democracy, and a sovereign nation should not have to be defending itself against tyranny and fascism.
Fans in Boston lightly booed the song. The crowd in Montreal booed the Star-Spangled Banner prior to U.S. tournament games last week. Gethin Coolbaugh, Boston.
I'm Ed Donahue, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Sunny skies today with a high of 31. West winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again tonight, lows around 13. Highs level off around 34 tomorrow. Overcast Sunday with daytime highs approaching 42, 49 Monday. Looking at the long range, 47 Tuesday, 47 Wednesday, and 39 on Thursday. That's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently, it's 12 degrees.
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Chicago's progressive talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chu on WCPT 820 AM, where facts matter. Take it away, Richard.
Hey, guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. I know you guys are on hold for calls. We're going to get to you at the bottom of this segment with our guests, so stay with us. I know I want to get you on. Shout outs to our folks, Natalie, Bob, Diane, Lois, Laura, for your contributions this morning. Appreciate all of that. And what I was talking about right before the break when Karen said see you tomorrow is the McHenry County Dems Women's annual fundraiser. That's going to be taking place tomorrow from 11 until 2. And our good friend Natalie Ziemba, who was here last Friday in studio, is a big part of that, as well as our own Joan Esposito will be the keynote speaker. So that's what we were chatting about. I'm not sure if there's still tickets available, but I'm sure Natalie will send me a text to tell me if that information, if there still are, and where you can go to get them. So just that's what we were talking about at the end of that segment. Make your way, of course, over to heartlandsignal.com. A couple of great Heartland Signal on X clips and videos. Everything from Mark Wayne Mullen, the Republican from Oklahoma, saying that Teamsters president Sean O'Brien. This is one of those, trying to be, the massive bro. He's talking about that if they had they wouldn't get into a physical fight, but if they did, that he's his friend and it wouldn't be that bad. And if I were in a relationship with him, if we were in a relationship, I'd be the man in the relationship. What is wrong with these damn Republicans? I mean, come on. I mean, it's just threats, and this is why I said what I said in the opening half hour. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with our guest. Make your way over there because we've got great pieces. Mitch McConnell talks about the fact that he's not going to be running again. It's about doggone time. And this one really just made me chuckle. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett says sending each American $5,000 checks from DOGE wouldn't be inflationary because inflation only happens when the government spends money. Lord have mercy. Okay. Make your way over to heartlandsignal.com to check out our digital platform and the work that we have there. All right, guys. Second hour of Choose Views today on this Friday, and we are excited to be here as always. in the past, we've had nothing but wonderful guests on our shows. And when we have someone who's been on with us in the past and they come back to bring us up to speed on things, it's always exciting. And with that being said, today we have with us Executive Director of One AIM Illinois, none other than Ms. Yolanda Androzzo. Good morning, Yolanda. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, good morning, Richard. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm doing great. You know.
Do you got a winter coat?
coalition.
Are you staying warm today? Or I should say the last couple of days.
I am. I've got on a huge winter coat, and I've got several layers, and I walk my dog every day. So, yeah, I'm staying warm due to clothing. Thank you so much.
There you go. Yeah, because listen, the weather, Mother Nature and Father Nature, they're not cooperating right now. They're like, nope, sorry, we're having a little bit of a tussle here. So you all of you down on Earth have got to deal with our little freeze out.
Yeah, I know. When it's 30 degrees, I'm like, wow, it feels like spring. So, hey, hopefully we'll be feeling spring shortly.
There you go. One of our guests said yesterday, you can see spring down the hall. And I went, yep, you can. So, so Yolanda, I'm so pleased to have you on this morning. I talked about something at the beginning of the show, earlier in the show, about people being threatened by where they stand in this political climate that we're in. Folks being threatened online, on social media, keyboard warriors out there trash talking people, folks showing up at places of work and other things, and even folks that are going out to rally and to fight. To fight the power. And I just said, listen, folks, be careful, be mindful. Don't take things lightly. Know your surroundings. And if someone's, coming after you, you need to let somebody know. And in the workplace and in social areas, on social media. But you've really been fighting hard to make sure that people that are at risk with domestic violence in Illinois have a support system and have the tools to deal with and navigate that. And you had a great speech this week referencing Governor Pritzker's historical signing of Karina's bill. Talk about that. Share with our listeners what that's all about and your work that you're doing with One AIM in this space.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, well, One AIM Illinois we're a Black-led organization, gun violence prevention nonprofit organization, and we lead the largest grassroots coalition in Illinois advocating to end gun violence through education, advocacy, and organizing. And the fight is one. It takes us all to create a safer Illinois. Karina's law, the signing of Karina's bill into Karina's law, is monumental because we know that victims of domestic violence are already vulnerable, especially when they are attempting to leave. In fact, after a victim is granted an order of protection with the firearm remedy, Karina's law ensures firearms will be removed from law enforcement in a timely manner. And for those of your listeners who may not know, Karina's law is named after Karina Gonzalez and her 15-year-old daughter, Daniela, who were shot and killed by Karina's estranged husband in 2023. Even though Karina had bravely gone to the courts and been granted an order of protection, the firearm was not removed by law enforcement from her husband. So Karina's law requires law enforcement now to confiscate guns within 96 hours from anyone who has had an order of protection entered against them. And, we know that victims of domestic violence are 500 times more likely to be killed when there's a gun involved. And up to 75% of abused women, 75% of abused women who are murdered are killed when they leave their partners. And the issue deeply impacts Black women, Richard, because Black women are 6 times more likely to be killed than white women, with 51% of Black female homicides being related to intimate partner violence. So, this issue is deeply important to me. I myself am a survivor of domestic violence. My mother was abused by my father, and witnessing that as a young girl growing up was traumatic. as it was for my mother experiencing it, and if she had not gotten out of that situation and escaped my father, who knows?
Right.
My story, my mother's story might have very well been like Daniela and Karina.
Well, I'm extraordinarily proud and in awe of the work that you've done. You've been on this fight for a long time, and it's a fight that is hard enough as it is, but when you're doing it without allies, it makes it even more challenging. So who have been some of your allies in this fight that you've been able to partner with and work with to make sure that we were able to move the bill and now the law forward?
Well, definitely the network advocating against domestic violence spearheaded. They led the charge in passing Karina's bill, and they worked in coordination, collaboration with Karina Gonzalez's family. So Karina's son, Manny, who was also shot by his father but survived, and Karina's cousin, Monica. We also partnered with some of our GPAC, Amnesty International, Gifford Law Center, Brady, Legal Action Chicago, Moms Demand Action, the Crisis Center, and then, of course, our legislators who also, Celia Villanueva and Mara Hirschauer, who co-sponsored this bill. So it took a village, right? And finally, after more than 2 years of advocacy, it was passed. But it was passed also with our coalition members and the public who got on the phone and called their legislators and said that this issue was important to them and to please pass it. We had a digital day of action. People came on our coalition and emailed, tweeted, just really raised their voices. And that's what we have to do as a community, even when we think that, things look a little dismal, or things may not pass, but slowly they do. And that's through advocacy.
So, and thank you, Yolanda, for breaking that down. And I wanted you to be able to kind of list out who some of your advocacy and ally partners are. I guess it's kind of redundant, but the point I want to make about this in a broader sense is, I mentioned earlier before you came on, one of our listeners was talking about she wants to see Dems fighting harder, fighting stronger, fighting deeper, and that she herself, as a citizen here in the Chicagoland area, is fighting her behind off to make sure that things happen. And I applaud the work that she's putting in. And so when I see that kind of commentary from listeners, and I see the kind of work that you're doing, the one thing that's connected there that's important is our voices, our fight, our push, staying, very, very vigilant about, if we keep pushing, we get stuff done. If we lay down, then things don't get done. And when we yell loudly, our elected officials, they eventually are going to have, they're going to hear, or they're going to get removed. And I mean that not in a violent way, but they're going to get, they're going to get politically removed. You are at the tip of the spear with that in terms of yelling loud and making sure that you have allies to help you do it. Talk about that if you can.
Yes, it's a tireless fight, and I applaud those advocates, those survivors, our community members who are continuing to do it, because it takes a lot of energy. So, with One Aim Illinois and my involvement with this organization, not only do we make phone calls and ask our community members to create witness slips, et cetera. We have to go and talk with the media, as I'm on with your show right now. Articles, and also sharing our own personal stories is very, very important, because we have to personalize the issue. With gun violence, too often, people become numb to it. It's not normal, and nor should domestic violence be normalized. So with me, what that looked like personally was sharing my own story and breaking my own silence, and joining forces with survivors such as Manny and Monica and the network to make a difference. So it means, often continuing just to be hopeful in the face of what sometimes seems dim.
Yolanda, what are some of the tools that are there for those who are survivors? You are one, you've witnessed it and you've been a part of it, but what are some of the tools that you can speak about in this short time this morning that are available for those who are survivors?
Yes. Well, if you are a survivor of domestic abuse, one thing that you can do is go to the network. Go to the Network Advocating Against Domestic Violence. You can sign up for their alerts, and there's support groups you can get involved with. Whether domestic violence or if you're a gun violence survivor, please join One AIM Illinois. We need you. You can go to oneaimil.org, that's oneaimil.org, and join our coalition. One of the tools that people can utilize to create change is to advocate. So you can advocate with us in person, virtually. We are going to Springfield May 20th. We're going to be hopping on a bus from different areas around Chicago and going to Springfield and talking with our legislators and telling them what we think about gun violence and what needs to do to create a safer Illinois. Another thing that people can do...
I'm sorry, yes? Yolanda. What's the date again?
May 20th, yes.
And how can folks, if they want to... I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. I don't mean to do that. You go. I'll be quiet.
No problem. No, they can go to our website, go to oneaimil.org, and you can join our coalition. So once you join our coalition, you will get email updates, or you can ask for more information on our website, and then I can contact you. So you can also email me at yolanda@oneaim.org, One AIM Illinois. That's Yolanda at oneaimil.org. Another thing that people can do is join our Survivors Council. So if you are a survivor of gun violence, or if you know someone who is a survivor, please go on our website and sign up to join or to learn more about our Survivors Council, because we have quarterly events where we share resources with survivors, and it's a safe place for survivors to come together and talk about how they feel and learn about advocacy. Sharing your story is one of the largest tools people have to create change. If you think about any movement, it's all of the movements have been spearheaded by not only storytelling but song and definitely through talking with the media.
Yeah, Yolanda, it's a breathtaking thing that you're doing, and to say thing is really not the word I want to use, but the effort and the movement that you have and the advocacy that so many people are part of in this powerful step forward that you made happen, along with the allies that you have. I know that you are not one to take sole credit for something, but the allies that you have are great. The network, GPAC, Representative Mara Hirschhauer, Senator Chelina Villanueva, Moms Demand Action, Giffords, and countless others. You've been at the tip of the spear, and that's something that we all should be proud of for you and with you. And I'm glad that we were able to have you on this morning, because this is an area, the gun violence, yes. Domestic violence, yes. We have to make sure that we are protecting others who you may not know, but you're probably 1 or 2 degrees of separation from someone that's been caught up in this. So thank you so much, and thank you for being with us this morning. We definitely want to have you back, but before we let you go, one more time, let folks know how they can find you, where they can go to get involved in the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Richard. Please, if you want to get involved with preventing gun violence, go to oneaimil.org. That's oneaimil.org. Join our coalition, our Survivors Council. Sign up for alerts, updates, and definitely join us for Advocacy Day in Springfield on May 20th.
Absolutely. Yolanda Androzzo, the executive director of One AIM Illinois. Thank you so much for being with us. I know so many of our listeners will be moved and hopefully pick up the phone and either call or email or find out how to get involved. But thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Richard, for yours, and thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Have a great day. Have a good weekend, and stay warm with those layers you got on.
I'm going to try. try to. Me and my little dog. Thank you.
All right, Yolanda, be well. We'll talk soon.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Her and her little dog. Yeah, guys, I could go on for hours about this. And I guess this morning when I looked at, my notes and things that I wanted to make sure we talked about, folks that have endured real violence, domestic and other ways, we have to look out for them. We have to protect them. We have to make sure that they are protected. And if something does happen, that they have a place to go and that they have resources like One AIM to be able to turn to. And congratulations to our governor, and thank you, I should say, not congratulations. Thank you to Governor Pritzker for signing that bill into law, and to the legislators that pushed hard and heard the message from One AIM to make sure that we got this across the finish line. We have to push our leaders, y'all. We push our leaders, we get stuff done. Even in this, what seems to be dire time right now on a federal level, it's these types of champions that we have to turn to in terms of community. And I applaud what Yolanda's doing. So, guys, we are going to take a tiny break, come back, grab a call, and we may take another quick break because we have another guest coming on in the 7:30 hour. So, Henry, let's do that real quickly. All right, guys, 773-763-9278. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Dr. Jason Bassell. As it is I who voice these ads, it is I who get all the fame and glory. I can't even walk down the street without people recognizing me as that guy from Chicago Community Acupuncture and asking for my autograph.
Literally, that never happened.
Anyway, I want to tell you about my wonderful associates. These are experienced professionals who share my commitment to providing excellent and affordable care. We have Diane, a career Air Force veteran who earned her doctorate in Chinese medicine. Both Jay and He-Jay earned their medical degrees in China and the U.S. And we have James, who recently returned home to Chicago after practicing in Portland for years. I am so proud to have these excellent providers keeping Chicago Community Acupuncture open 7 days a week. How can people schedule, girls?
Well, they can go to chicomaco.com or they can call 773-853-0920. 773-853-0920. Milwaukee, Devon, and Nagel with great parking, great providers, and great prices. Schedule your appointment today.
The Democratic Party of DuPage County is celebrating 50 years with a gala event on Sunday, March 2nd. Make your plans to attend this very special event at Bobka's Signature Events in Woodridge. The program begins at 5:30 p.m. The list of speakers includes Governor J.B. Pritzker, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, and several members of Congress. The keynote speaker will be Anderson Clayton, who is one of the rising stars of the Democratic Party. Anderson was elected chair of the Democratic Party of North Carolina at the age of 23. The DuPage Dems Gala funds efforts to defeat extremists in DuPage County and fight back against Donald Trump. Get your tickets now. It's the Democratic Party of DuPage County 50th Anniversary Gala, Sunday, March 2nd at Bobka's Signature Events in Woodridge. Buy your tickets now before it sells out. For tickets, visit DuPageDemocrats.com. That's DuPageDemocrats.com.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey, guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. It's great to have Yolanda with us again. And she's a fighter, guys. She's in that every day. So reach out to her, follow One AIM Illinois, and provide whatever support and energy that you can. Let's go to a quick call, Henry. Let's go to Earl in Hyde Park. Earl, thanks for holding, man. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. You're a little muffled, so kind of whatever you can do to clear that up on your end, that would be great so folks can hear you.
Oh, okay. Is this any better?
Much better.
Okay, I want to compliment you on what you've been doing in the morning slot. You've been bringing on great guests and you've been having great conversations with the guests. I think you're doing a service for the community and the country, believe it or not. But, I still am keeping a worried eye on you and that other guy, that Eric. I mean,
yeah, but you threw me. You last Friday on Valentine's Day. I have an elephant's memory. You threw me under the bus with Natalie and Karen, and Henry was here to witness it. And I'm still just debating on how much I'm going to have your back when it comes to Mr. Grant. But I still got you, man.
Mr. Grant. You giving him respect, Mr. Grant?
Absolutely.
Oh, man, you're going from bad to worse. The one day I didn't support your Valentine's Day. And Henry, man, he's falling down the wormhole with you.
That's all right. It's a good wormhole.
But that's not the reason why I called, though. The reason why I called is I wanted to add a little bit more to your discussion about standing up and how to stand up in different ways of standing up.
Right.
One of the leading things that's going on in the country as far as poverty is concerned is health care. People can't afford the health care. And so if they have a job where they're dependent on health care for the members of their family, I don't want them to necessarily stand up and become a target, but find other ways to fight back, like going to your alderman or your administrator or someone that's political in your area that might be able to provide you support. Well, you're not necessarily the one that's taking all of the slings and arrows. I mean, what I'm just trying to say is that it is important for you to fight back and stand up. But not everybody is the same, and not everybody's in the same condition, because I came out of the South way back when, and the police weren't there for us. Oftentimes the police, like you saw on the Pettis Bridge, would do things to harm us. They didn't have our back.
Right.
And the same thing I feel here in Chicago. I've lived here in Chicago a long time, and I do remember where the police were segregators too. They participated in our segregation. And so you have to be, I'm suggesting that you understand your plight and find necessarily alternative ways of standing up by going through other channels and not necessarily putting your family members at risk if you can't afford to lose that job because of the health care problems. Insurance and stuff like this is an amazing thing. Sometimes when I stand in line at Walgreens, I hear people coming in, and I hear the pharmacist say, your thing is $1,000 this month. Mm-hmm. Man.
Yeah,
and I'm just so grateful that I do have good insurance, and I don't have to struggle and make choices as to how to balance my health care with other bills that have to be paid and other family members that you have to take care of. That's all. I support you on standing up. I do support you on fight. That's the only way you're going to make change. But I want us individually to understand our particular situations. And if somebody's in a position where they can't stand up as forcefully as you and Eric, maybe they have a reason. You don't know what's going on in their family, where they might be the provider for health care or other problems that have. And not everybody's as forthright as you are. They don't know how to be as strong.
Well, that's part of my responsibility, Earl, and I appreciate your call this morning. And what you're saying, for the clarification purposes, is right on point. Be smart in your diligence across the board. So, Earl, thank you for the call. We got to keep bumping along.
Take care now.
We will. Thanks, man. You too. Yeah, guys, don't be stupid. And if you've got a situation where there's things that are at risk, you got to be mindful of that. So all I'm saying is don't let someone or some individual put you at risk. If you see something, say something. If you see something or feel something, do something. How you do it will be dependent on where you are. But and I'm also talking to the fact that there's a bunch of keyboard warriors out there. Let them know. No, not today, not on my watch. But don't put things at risk. To Earl's point, I hear what he's saying loud and clear. We won't take a break. Let's just go to our guest, and then we'll that way we won't keep her waiting any longer. So today is folks who are doing who are taking on social issues to keep things on the rails. I'll put it that way. And with us in this segment of the show, we have the Congress Watch Director, Public Citizen Congress Watch Director Elizabeth Beavers, with us this morning to talk a little bit about serving as director of Congress Watch and what her role is and how she's been able to make change by keeping an eye on what folks are doing in that space. So good morning, Elizabeth, and welcome to Choose Views.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Well, listen, a lot of people don't know about your organization and what Congress Watch does, what your objectives are, and what some of your successes are. So take a moment, kind of introduce you and the organization, but I really want to talk about, frankly, what it is, what have been some of the successes of what the organization is set out to do.
Sure thing. So for those who are not familiar, Public Citizen is a nonprofit consumer advocacy organization in Washington, D.C. We champion the public interest in the halls of power in many different ways. We have a litigation arm. We have researchers. We have a communication shop. I run Congress Watch, which is the public interest lobbying shop, and we really focus on lawmakers and trying to change the law. We defend democracy, resist corporate power, fight to ensure that government works for the people and not big corporations. And we've been around for more than 50 years. We were founded in 1971, and we've got about 500,000 members and supporters throughout the country.
People see, that's what I'm saying, and that's why I didn't want to steal your thunder. 500,000, y'all. Do you understand how powerful that is when you've got an organization that's that large that can get stuff done? And Elizabeth, we talk a lot about community. We talk a lot about folks having a place to go, to be involved, and to be able to not sit and be fearful and angry and worried about where we are with regard to the federal government right now. But take a moment and talk about the efforts from a litigation standpoint that you're putting forward when it comes to DOJ, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I told my team the day after the election, look, we take the time we need. We sort of mourn what's going on in this country. We recognize the reality, but we also acknowledge the privilege that we are not in a place where we're helpless or there's nothing we can do. We have been entrusted by these 500,000 people to be in Washington, D.C., and to do our best to fight back. And so that's what we're trying to do. Our litigation arm has been very busy. Elon Musk is giving them a lot of reasons to be busy. So, I'm sure your listeners, you all have talked about it quite a bit. There's this kind of amorphous DOJ project that he has going on. It's still a little unclear exactly what it is. It started out like maybe it was going to be this advisory committee outside the government. Then, okay, no, it's actually an office inside the White House. Now it's something more than that. They've got minions that are placed at different departments and agencies throughout the federal government. They're going through and they're accessing data and they're firing people and they're setting up funding freezes, and they're just trying to kind of like unilaterally shut down parts of the government. So we've been attacking this from a number of different angles. We have lawsuits where we're suing to try to protect sensitive information from these DOJ-affiliated people that are just kind of roaming the halls of these different departments and getting access to really sensitive information, whether it's financial information or medical information, student information. So we've got some lawsuits towards that end. We also are trying to sue to protect agencies from being unilaterally dismantled by DOJ and by the administration. We have sued them, for example, the first one they took on, they tried to unilaterally dissolve the USAID. We sued on that. Right now, the big fight is around the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which Public Citizen had a really leading role in setting up this agency and advocating for it to exist. It really just kind of is the police arm for big banks to keep banks from imposing junk fees on people and ripping them off. And the CFPB is really important, but Trump and Musk are trying to dismantle it, and so we are suing them to stop that. Right now, the judge has ordered that the administration stop firing employees, don't defund the agency, don't destroy records while the case proceeds. So we're having some success there. I just note a couple of other things here. We've sued to protect against these really harmful spending freezes by the administration. The way the law is supposed to work is that Congress appropriates money, and then you spend it. But the administration, with Elon Musk's advice and pushing, are just kind of unilaterally deciding not to spend really critical money. And one area where we have really, really dug in is we're suing them to reverse the spending freezes on foreign assistance, because this is really life or death stuff. There are people around the world who rely on foreign assistance dollars for critical medical services, for food, for shelter, medicine. It's really just, people are going to die because of this. So I will just note, we did secure a restraining order, a temporary restraining order to prevent the funding freeze while the case proceeds, but the administration is not complying. So we could very soon have a clash there where we have to try to push to hold them in contempt of court. We have to take a number of other measures because they are fighting this every step of the way.
So this is the question, and Elizabeth, folks that listen to my show know this, and when someone's talking that's guest and they really hit their stride, I put my pen down and just listen. And so
you got to jump in and stop me.
No.
I'll talk all day.
Trust me, we have listeners all over the country that appreciate that I don't jump in and stop people, because when you're making a point, they want to hear it from an expert like you and others that we've been able to have on our show. But it does lead me to a question that I know is on the minds of millions of Americans, and this is it's the what if question, and I know that you probably know where I'm going. What if these mugs decide we're not going to listen to any of these rulings? We're not going to abide by what the law has said we have to do in these lawsuits. I mean, that is because for decades, if not centuries, our country has been kind of held together with duct tape, that if you cross the line too much, and I talked about this earlier in terms of people being threatened on social media and threatened at work and other places, that we have a system in place, as messed up as it can be, that being our justice system, our law system, that says, no, you can't do that. And so this is what I think people are really ultimately concerned about, is we have these great groups like yours that are filing suits. And the question is, what if, Elizabeth, they decide to not abide by what a higher court says you can't do that?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we might find out really soon, right? They are putting us in this situation, like everything's getting a little philosophical. Like, what is law? If no one enforces it and no one abides by it. So, Public Citizen is thankfully, we're one of those groups. We have a number of tools at our disposal. We are thinking about that. We run this coalition called Not Above the Law, where we partner with other organizations like ours who have members and supporters throughout the country, so that collectively, we always feel we work best in coalition when we're joining together, rowing in the same direction. We're partnering with a number of other organizations, and we're preparing to mobilize if that happens. If we get to a point where there's just flat-out defiance of court orders and we need to mobilize civic action, then we're prepared to do that. Grassroots activists are signing up and are ready to engage in protest and take to the streets. So we've got that. My shop, Congress Watch, there are a few tools that Congress has at its disposal. Now, the Republican Party does run the White House and the Senate and the House of Representatives right now. So Democrats are a little bit in the minority party, but we are really pushing them. Use the tools you do have. Fight back. Do oversight. Request records. Push for investigations. File complaints. That's what we're doing. We're kind of like throwing everything out there. We're trying to make sure, look, don't let some of these things go under the radar. Make sure it all faces sunlight. Make sure it all faces exposure. And that we prepare and we bring to bear all these different tools of pressure that we have. The whole point here is we're trying to create, preserve, and defend a healthy and strong democracy that has a number of checks and balances that we can invoke. But it's about to be put to the test, I think.
One of the things that you just said that made me think, okay, Elizabeth is so on point about bringing sunlight to these issues. And here's kind of what I want to sort of partner with you on in this statement. Just as the administration has thrown all these executive orders, kind of rapid fire, we need to do the same thing in terms as they want to flood the zone, we get to flood the zone too. And our flooding of the zone, and correct me if I'm wrong, is being able to have the legal acumen to use litigation and the efforts that follow that to combat that by daily. And I say this about congressional leaders that are Democrats. Daily, they need to be outing and sunlighting, to use your word, what's happening in the administration. And we need to use the tools, to your point, of litigation, of pushback. And it can't, as much as they're trying to flood the zone, we should be flooding the zone as well. Am I crazy or not?
I am with you 100%, and I would even add to it that I don't even think it always requires legal acumen and litigation. We are lucky at Public Citizen. We have brilliant lawyers under our roof, and they are really busy. But the rest of us have tools, too. And, you know, the other parts, even within Public Citizen, like flooding the zone, I love that you use that term because I think that's exactly right. We've been filing a bunch of ethics complaints. We've been sending public letters. We've been sending off petitions. We've been, do I think that at this particular moment the ethics watchdogs in this government are going to hold this government accountable? No, but I'm going to file a complaint with them anyway, because then there's a complaint that exists and the media is going to cover it and people are going to talk about it, and the various wrongdoings are not going to go in the shadows. And so we live in an age where there's social media. We live in an age where we have platforms. We have friends and family who listen to us. I think we all have various levels of responsibility. And if I can shamelessly plug at citizen.org, that's our Public Citizen website, we have a number of ways where people can take action, get involved, use their own tools at their disposal. You don't have to be a litigator. You don't have to be a lawyer. The courts are one area where we're fighting, but we can fight on a number of different fronts.
I love what you said, but you can plug all day long. It's nothing. There's no, that was a right on and be proud, pull your shoulders back, plug, because people need to know. They're asking me, they're asking so many others, Richard, what do I do? Where do I go? Where do I turn to be involved? And your organization is one of them. And again, I wanted you to say it first about the numbers of folks that are part of your organization. Excuse me, Elizabeth, that are part of your organization and that are doing the work. So I'm just thrilled to death that you're there. I want to ask you a question, something that was sent to me earlier this morning, and it talks about, this is part of that conversation about what's coming from Musk and Trump and how we fight it. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this was sent to me this morning. Representative Robert Garcia got a letter apparently from the White House about his criticizing of Musk and Trump, and this came from this letter came from the DOJ. I don't know if you know specifically about that letter, but in general, what are your thoughts about that kind of sort of letters coming out to people who are criticizing the administration?
I only have seen public reporting on this. This administration has, first of all, last time they were in power, so we've already had we've had a whole stint with them before. We have kind of seen this movie before. They are not shy about using tactics and getting petty and getting dirty, and that's unfortunately something that we've come to expect. But I think they show their hand when they try to resort to intimidation, and they try to show retaliation and things like that. Like they show who they are, and they show where they're getting nervous and where they're maybe weak. So it's not surprising, concerning. You never quite know exactly what you're going to face with this administration, but certainly they're not too interested in following norms and following the usual rules of etiquette.
So as we wrap up, two things I'd like you to do. Let folks know where to find you, one. And the second thing is some parting comments of inspiration or direction, may be a better word, for those who are listening throughout the country.
Totally. Look, I think that we're not meeting the moment if we don't acknowledge that things are scary and things are really concerning, and that's perfectly okay. I think, like I said at the top here, that's what I told my staff. It is perfectly okay to mourn and to be worried, but let that channel us into action and let that channel us into being really strategic. What can we do? Where can we push back? We do live in a democracy that has a number of tools pushback and of leverage. So let's push them. And again, if folks want to go to citizen.org, that's where you can find Public Citizen's website. There are ways to support us, to get on our email list, to chip in for our legal team that is working overtime right now, to take action, to have call scripts if you want to contact your legislators, if you want to share things out on your social media platforms. We've got so many opportunities for that. I hope people will follow up there, because we're trying really hard to answer those exact questions, like what can we do, and where can we really focus our energy and focus on doing something about this moment. And so, we're doing our best to find those opportunities. We're not giving up. I hope others won't give up, and I hope we can work together, because, I mentioned this elsewhere, we are going to be so much stronger if we are all rowing in the same direction and joining forces.
That's a visual that you guys can take with you this weekend all over the country, rowing in the same direction. We are different backgrounds and different, whatevers, but if we're rowing in the same direction now, that's going to be one of our superpowers. And having folks like Elizabeth Beavers, a public citizen, out there leading the charge. I want people to follow you, follow the organization, be involved, take heed to her words about community and being an advocate and working together, because they're meaningful and we are stronger together. So, Elizabeth, thank you so much for being with us. We are definitely looking forward to having you back again in the coming weeks, because we know that you'll have a lot to report on the work that you guys are doing.
Anytime, and thank you for doing what you're doing and bringing us all into this conversation. Absolutely.
Elizabeth Beavers, public citizen, thanks for being with us this morning. Have a great weekend, okay?
Thank you. Take care.
All right, bye now. Yeah, guys, Elizabeth is the truth, and her organization that you need. If you're listening, following, whatever, go to their website, citizen.org, www.citizen.org. Her name is Elizabeth, Elizabeth, Beavers, Beavers, public citizen. You've asked for places to go. Richard, how can I get involved? What can I do? There's one of them. Lean into what they're doing. They're taking an active, litigious role in pushing back against these knuckleheads that are part of this administration. And I'm including Elon Musk in that. Representative Garcia was on the news and basically referencing back to what I talked about with this letter from the DOJ. He referred to Elon Musk as the male organ, the derogatory version of that. I won't say the words, but y'all know what I'm talking about. And he called him out. See, that's the problem with these thin-skinned punks, Henry. And yeah, I'm going there now. They're thin-skinned, and Elizabeth kind of touched on it in her way. They know that those of us who are fighting across the board, folks that text me this morning, who have said things, folks that have called in, folks that listen to the show, they know that we're fighting. They know that we're not stupid enough to be permanently asleep, and that bothers them. They want to put us into a political and social coma. And representatives like Robert Garcia are saying, no, that's not going to happen. I'm going to speak up. Those of you who text me this morning, you want to see more of that, and that's why I brought it to light. I want you to continue to let me know, to speak to that, and to continue to support the guests that we have on that are fighting, whether it be Yolanda, who was on with us earlier from One AIM. She's in the fight, y'all. The bigger issue of domestic violence and gun violence is part of our social problem with guns in the first doggone place. So it's a local organization that she's a part of, but it's a national conversation. Yolanda Androzzo fighting that fight every day. And as she said, in the community. Elizabeth Beavers, same thing. Not afraid to roll up sleeves and get elbows deep and fight. And I know that many of you who've texted me this morning are saying the same thing. So kudos to all of you that sent me. Bob and Laura and Diane and Lois, Gloria, all the rest of you. Thank you for that. Keeps me honest, keeps me, from having to clean up on aisle 7 all the time, but, some of the time when we don't get it quite right. But, guys, I take pride in being able to be, kind of your representative with our show each morning. And that's why I want to encourage you to stay in the fight, encourage you to push back, and encourage you to find organizations like Elizabeth's, particularly in the space of watching what the government's doing and her work with Public Citizen, and also with a local organization, One AIM Illinois, because what they do, guys, it's important. All right, guys, let's see. Let's try to grab one last call, and then I've got a clip to play that has been, it's making like my radio request list. Let's go to Steve in Des Plaines. Good morning, Steve. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Richard, how you doing?
Good, man. What's going on?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to call in because I have to relieve my safety valve because I'm so enraged by Trump throwing Ukraine under the bus. As a former veteran, that everything that we've accomplished in the last 80 years has been thrown under the bus. NATO, protecting Europe in World War II. These alpha hotels have completely destroyed everything that American blood paid for. And the gloves are off for me. The gloves are off. I'm done.
Them off. You got to keep them off. It's like one of our listeners that sent me a text. Gloves are off. They have to stay off, Steve. We have to. And you know, Representative Garcia got a letter from the DLJ because he's got the gloves off, and he said, no, this guy's a what. And that's what has to happen, though, because they want us to suppress. And I applaud you in what you're saying about the waste. I mean, this is an example. This is what went through my mind when you said that, Steve. Trump has historically started a project and then trashed it because he couldn't make it work. It's the epitome of his failure as a business person. And the same thing has happened with this presidency. And in the first term and now in this second term. And Ukraine is an example of what you said in terms of the waste. We've invested in helping to protect a sovereign nation that was attacked. They were attacked by Russia. And so now just to walk away from that is not going to save us money. It's going to put us at greater risk. And it's classic Trump, y'all. And I don't care if you're in the middle or if you're trying to say, hey, Rich, hey, Steve, come on, guys. No, the gloves are off because these fools are being wasteful. They try to pretend, to your point, Steve, that they're fixing things, but they're just, frankly, effing them up even worse.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, I stand with Canada. I stand with Europe. I'm not an American right now in that sense. I would tell people not to join the American military. I hate saying that. Maybe I need to temper that, but
listen, man.
Well, anyway.
No, I hear you, and I feel you. I feel when someone is of that, you're so frustrated that you're stuttering. I get what you're saying. I understand your passion. I have to ask you a question though. How's everything going with school?
School's going great. I tell you what, I'm in my poli-sci class. We're going through American government, and the coincidence of the timings is amazing. I was talking to the professor how the American government came to be and the amazing brilliance mechanism that was put together. As flawed as the men were, slave owners and this and that, but these guys are really smart. They were men of the Enlightenment from John Locke on them. And they put this thing together, and we are on the verge of effing it all up for some ridiculous.
Woosah, brother. Woosah. All right, Steve. Listen, man, have a great weekend. Thanks for your call and your contribution. We're pulling for you in school, so stay strong, okay?
Thank you, everybody.
All right, man. Bye now. Yeah, Steve's ready to cuss, y'all. Do we have time for do we have just enough time? Let's squeeze it in, guys. I've been asked to end the show with this again, so here you go.
Something extraordinary about you. You must be pretty special if an entire movement of MAGA people had to create a Project 2025 to erase your contributions, remove your genius, marginalize your brilliance, disenfranchise your power, restrict your participation, and miseducate the nation's children. Maybe you don't know how powerful you are, black people. Billionaires funded, lawyers plotted, think tanks studied, politicians gathered, insurrectionists on January 6th planned, entire news networks broadcast, and a so-called president gave executive orders, all centered on quieting the power of a people who will not be silent. To quote the comedic prophet by the name of Cat Williams, You don't spend this much time and money trying to convince people you don't like they are nothing. You don't like someone, you don't think about them. But if you have to pass laws, broadcast news stories, and blame all the problems in the nation on the people who built the nation, claiming they are the problem, something is not right. There is something special about you. The world wants our rhythm, but not our blues.
I say that to all of us. It's a specific sermon from a minister talking about black folks in Black History Month. But as I said, black history is American history. And for all of us that are in the fight, for all of us that are feeling and facing the pain, irrespective of culture, this is our opportunity to recognize how special we are and how strong we are in coming together. So it's the weekend, y'all. Take a deep breath, make your life count, and we'll see you next week.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning lawyer who drafts living trusts and wills. Since the election, I've been hearing from my clients, many of them fellow WCPT listeners. And we all wonder, how did this happen and what can we do? The how is, of course, very complicated. My thoughts as regard to what we can do is simple but important. We need to take extra care of those we love. Having an estate plan using either a living trust or will can provide comfort in uncertain times like these. When the progressive values we hold dear are under attack, I feel we must make sure that our personal lives are secure and then work out from there. I've been drafting estate plans for my clients for over 30 years, and I will use all of that experience to help you. Please call me at 847-9